got up to leave, and I had a snotty tissue, and I dropped it on his floor, and the room is so quiet.
Yeah, deathly quiet.
And I bend over to pick it up, and I feel gross, and I look over, and he's just watching me pick up the tissue, and that moment was the most humiliating moment of my life. Like, it's the worst I've ever felt.
You cried and filled the tissue with snot. Obviously, I've seen you do it a couple times, but I love the bit about your dad in a home because I had to put my grandma on one.
Yeah.
But grandma's was medically induced, but yours is so, because she broke her hip. But the joke is so great because it's like, there's this feeling of when you come to that part in your life where you just kind of don't want.
You don't want to be around them.
You don't want to be around it. You don't want to.
It's an incredibly cruel and terrible thing to do, because if you think about what a family is supposed to be,
you're supposed to be there.
You're supposed to be there. You're supposed to just kind of hold them. You're supposed to change your life.
If I was a good family member,
it ruins marriages, but it's supposed to, like my dad or my mom they're moving in, and your wife is like, no, I don't want. That's not what I signed up for. And you're like, well, feel however you want about it. It's happening. Like, that's the way life was. It still is in a lot of the world. Like, I did that bit. I do that whenever I did that bit. I could see people relating. It's the one bit they're not just laughing at. You see them looking at each other.
They talk about it.
Fuck yes.
Because
there's always one person. There's always be like a mom-ish woman.
Yeah.
With her hand over her mouth, going, "Oh God," and her husband rubbing her back, like, "I know, right?"
Yeah.
But then I did it in like Saudi Arabia, and they didn't know what I was talking about. They didn't understand it.
You kill your father. They say something way more brutal. When he cannot cut
you
the
put
seed.
him on the desert,
the sword,
and I comes and pick out his eye.
You let the hawk of time
eat the scorpion eat it.
That's always
you throw away.
The brutality of other countries with an American, because you go, but I want him to be warm and soft. And they go, it is done.
This is not.
So you die.
Yeah.
But
no, I mean, the opposite is true. They couldn't get their head around it. I asked a few people about it while I was there. I was like, do you put your older people in a home away from you in an institution? And they're like, what? No, they live in your house till they die.
Honestly.
You take care, especially then. That's when they need your care. Yeah. That's when you pay them for everything they did.
Some would argue that's the whole reason you have a family.
That's the whole reason.
It used to be farmers needed people to work the crops.
Yes.
And also take care of them when they die.
Yes, the person who got you from infancy to adulthood, you're not going to fucking let them have just a few years to just live and also have your kids have access to them. And
story. Live too long, motherfucker.
No, and by the way, whatever, last time I went to see him is when this bit was born, because I went to see him. The thing that really happened was I went in his room. I hadn't seen him for about a year, and he looked at me like, "Hello."
Oh fuck!
And I was like, "Hi," and he was like, "Yeah." And I said, "It's Louis, your son," and he's like, not picking up on this. And he doesn't really have like a real big. He has sort of come and go dementia.
Sure,
but not. That's not the main feature of him.
Yeah.
So I was like, Louis. And he didn't. He was sort of being polite, like, hello. And so I said, I'm going to come in and sit with you for a while. And he was like, you are? Like, it was so, I felt creepy.
Like, yeah, you're sitting, like hitting on your dad.
It's like if I went into a total stranger's room.
Hello.
And said, hi, I'm going to come and sit with you. And he's like, yeah. Like,
okay, I was just thinking about the Korean War. I don't need you.
I don't know what you're
bedside.
doing here. But I start trying to explain to him who I am. I showed him a picture. My sister told me, you show him pictures, it brings it back, Sure. So I showed him a picture of him and my mom, and I said, what is, he goes, that's my wedding day. That's my ex-wife, which they were divorced, but
yeah.
I showed him the whole family. He goes, it's my family.
You went, right?
And I go, who's that at the end? He goes, it's my son. And I go, that's me. And he was like, he selectively dementiated me out of his memory. Like, I kept talking to him about our family, our history, but he just was skipping over me. And I was like, I am here. I am. And it was pissing me off because he seemed lucid. And
he doesn't do that with your sisters?
Like, no, he's a little on and off, but not like that.
But he locks in sometimes.
He locks in once in a while, and so I was getting really uncomfortable and pissed.
Yeah.
And so I said, I I figured I'm not going to see him again. I said, I'm going to say some things to you, whether you know who I am or not,
Sick.
that I want to say. But
that's good for you.
It was like talking to the granite, to the tombstone, like the way you sit and talk to it. It was like that. And he's looking at me, and I'm telling him things I feel about what happened when I was a kid. And I started to cry, and he fell asleep. So... And as I left, I had a...
That is, just as someone that has struggled with dad issues his entire life and had him watch die when I was young, this makes me feel so much better he died when I was 14.
Oh, no, it's horrible.
Because I can't imagine all the things that I've worked through in therapy of like things I would have said to him if I had this opportunity. And I went, and I just want to let you know, you gave up on Michelle, you gave... I would fight him. That you should challenge him. The sword fight should happen.
So I got up to leave.
He's selling the fight.
I got up to leave, and I had a snotty tissue, and I dropped it on his floor. And the room is so quiet.
Yeah, deathly quiet.
And I bend over to pick it up, and I feel gross. And I look over, and he's just watching me pick up the tissue. And that moment was the most humiliating moment of my life. Like, it's the worst I've ever felt.
You cried and filled a tissue with snot, and your dad was like, hey, pick that shit up, bitch.
So I wanted to tell that story on stage initially. I was like, this story, there's something really big here. I want to tell it. And I would start to tell it, but I would walk slow to it by describing the place he's at. And the one thing that really did happen, which was there was a lady urgently saying to me, please help me, a lady in a wheelchair.
God, you describe
and I said to the guy,
bird.
a guy that worked there, this lady needs help, and he just went like that. That happened on the way into his room. So I started with that story, and I kept explaining the place and explaining the context of the place.
Yeah.
To say what happened with my dad.
Yeah, to set
but
the scene.
Couldn't tell the story. I kept setting the scene, but when I got to it, I couldn't really tell the story.
Why?
Because it was too painful. I knew that it's so painful.
It's my entire generation with stand-up, especially with the personal level of it, you know, of you like talking about people that are living. It's how much easier is it to talk about when people are dead?
Well, yeah,
because I've done a ton of dad jokes, and I wouldn't have had the balls if I would have known that he was living.
He's there hearing them. Well, like, I don't know if my dad, I don't think he sees the material. I don't think he'll see this bit.
Sure. Unless your sister's hilarious.
Yeah.
She gets him to be lucid, and she goes, hey, remember that guy? Remember that crying bitch you made fun of? Here you go. You know, fucking think about it.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But his presence on Earth is not what makes it difficult. Like, what would he say, I guess? When somebody dies, the book is closed. Their whole story's been told.
Game's over.
So you can really, because there's always a chance with everybody. It's never too late. Like, people take turns. People become different people during their lifetime. But once you're dead,
it's done.
Yeah.
And I would also say that's probably one of the worst things about losing someone young is because you feel like the game ended quick. Where you go, we didn't have a chance to come back around and change shit.
Yeah, that's right.
But joke writing wise, you go,
yeah,
you got no editorial.
Most of my jokes about my mom are about her being dead, about her death. Her death was a big deal to me. I was very close to my mom, and she died in 2019. And, you know, she wasn't that old.
Yeah.
And so it was dramatic, and it was a big loss. And she has had kind of like an Obi-Wan Kenobi presence in my life since then. Like, she's more omniscient.
Sure. And you think about kind of what she would think on situations.
Yeah, she's always there in a sense. And more than back when she was alive, I'd be like, I should call mom. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of actually corner your parents into a place when they're alive, because it's such an overwhelming presence. You're like, I can't think about mom right now because I haven't called her in about a month, and I feel like shit, so I'm not going to think about her.
And you feel bad for not visiting?
I don't have to call her at all, so I can think about her freely. I can feel her spirit more freely because there's no guilt involved.
There's people with dead dads who go like, fuck yeah, I think that same thing, and you go, and that's kind of what you're talking about with the home, where you want to say a joke where people go like, this is... Yes. Because similarly with my grandma, while it was happening, I was writing jokes. Right. And saying them to Lisa because we were in together. I go, this is crazy. There was one point where a nurse, because this was a facility to like, it was a rehab facility / home.
She was a drug addict?
Yeah, big heroin user, which she could rock. Put her on a Stratocaster, give her a fucking slide guitar in the home. No, but we were standing in the hallway and the nurse was like giving me the schedule where they go, Mondays, we do arts and crafts. And we're talking. And across the hallway, there's just an old man going, I want to go home. I want to go home. And she's going like this. Tuesdays are movie nights. And she like didn't even.
No, that's what it's like.
It didn't even take her out. She was just like.
No, every time my sister calls me and she's like, they're not looking after his hearing aids, or they're like, he's having a pain and they haven't done any imaging. I'm like, he's there to fucking die.
Yeah, that's what you said.
He's there to fucking die.
Just pay him and they take him. And
it's like if you were
the last place
you bury somebody in a cemetery and then you call the people that run the cemetery and go like, is he getting anything to eat?
Do you put the boombox over the plot and play his favorite album?
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
They're dead in there.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is that life